Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. We have, again, one of the subjects we're always interested in, economic development. We have Thom Robinson, who, as you recall, is the Executive Director of the Tullahoma Area Economic Development Corporation. And we had him on several months ago, and he had 2 or 3 hot topics at that time that were near completion, and now there's a few more things going on. So we've asked Thom to come back and catch us up. So at that time, your TIF project was hopefully close to ready, as was the certification of the airport business park, right? So how do those stand? Can we dispose of those shortly?
Thanks, Thom. And we're, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record saying they're almost done, but they really are almost done. One is tax increment financing program, which is using future tax revenues to finance public infrastructure projects now, and there's one for the current mall and Cherokee Square that we've been working on for well over 2 years.
Right.
And it's just taken a very long time, a lot of legal things. We last fall we got the approval of both the city and county governments, and we've been trying to work with our attorney and the developer's attorney and the financing group, one of the regional banks that will be doing the actual financing. And that's just taken a little bit longer, some details that needed to be worked out, but they're almost through. In fact, we hope to, in the next week to 10 days, actually sign the final agreement. So we're very close.
And you had to go to the state for a couple of OKs.
We did. After we got the state, laid out the general plan, got the local approvals by the governing bodies, and put it all together. We took all that in a package to the state comptroller and the State Department of Economic Community Development. So there's another safeguard there to make sure that the public trust is continued.
Do you have both their OKs?
Yes, we do. And okay. Like I say, it's just a few little things on the final financing that are being worked out. We hope to have that in the next week or so. So that and the other program that you talked about was the certification of the new Tullahoma Business Air Park, which is a 100-acre parcel out on the northwest side of the airport. And we've been working on that for a long time, but what the state did was set up a certification program. Then they hired a national consulting firm that works in these kind of things to actually gather all the information and then review it and say, yes, that's a certifiable site. Well, they are very meticulous. The state is getting its money's worth. But we thought we were almost...
They keep coming back for a little more.
Well, they do, but finally we've gotten the verbal okay from the consultant that everything looks good, and he's writing up his final report right now, and so that goes to the state, and we expect to receive the final official certification notice, hopefully maybe at the governor's annual economic development conference, which will be in October this year.
Yeah, and he usually announces a couple of new certifications.
According to our state contact, that they'll either have 3 or 4, including ours, that will be announced over the period of the last year and a half. They've announced, I want to say it's 21 various sites across the state. So it's not like every little piece of property gets certified. It is an intense project, and so we're glad to have this one looks like put to bed, and I'll be glad we can hang a certificate on the wall. But then the state will be helping to market that. They have a special website, and so what that means is that when somebody's looking for a site and ours meets the initial qualifications, they can rest assured they could come in tomorrow and start building on it. Yeah. So it's good. Companies want to lessen the amount of time in preparation, if you will.
Okay. Well, with that, folks, let's take a short commercial break and we'll come back and talk some more.
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday miracles at Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Let the Smokehouse be your mountain getaway destination in beautiful Monteagle, Tennessee. Enjoy our cabins, restaurant, and old general store. Shop thesmokehouse.com featuring homemade barbecue sauces, jellies, and many other fine Tennessee products. Our live Music on the Mountain series features some of the best local and Nashville talent every Friday and Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. No cover, kids welcome.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we're talking with Thom Robinson, the Executive Director of Tullahoma's Economic Development Corp. And he had a visit early this month from the State Commissioner Boyd. Anything exciting come out of that?
Well, I don't know if you'd say exciting, but we're always pleased when a commissioner of any kind, but certainly my area, economic development, comes to town.
He's a top state cat.
Commissioner Randy Boyd, who's been the commissioner less than a year, and he has really been going around and learning the state in various capacities. And he came, as you said, last week to stop in at our airport. Then he was headed south to Fayetteville and one other place, but checking out some of the general aviation facilities around the area. And City Administrator Baltz and myself and a couple of representatives of the airport authority, Sam Krim and Jim Apple, met him for a brief visit. I guess it's maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes at most. Flew in, and then they left us in a van headed to the rest of the tour. But we gave him an overview of our airport, talked a little bit about this new that we just talked about, business air park. We talked about the fact that our airport, our general aviation main Tullahoma Airport, is the 5th busiest airport in the state of Tennessee, and has a lot of good things going. Got some events we'll talk about in a minute going.
Yeah.
But he was very impressed and said so. He said they had visited a number of airports before they came here over the last week or 10 days, and said we were the most prepared, and he appreciated our efforts. We gave him a lot of information in a very short period of time.
Good. Well, if he's been there less than a year, and then a little later on we were going to mention that you've attended a conference, which I think was up in Shelbyville. You have a new regional director, Amy New.
Well,
So
she's actually a statewide director, Thom,
yeah, well,
over a new division.
She's in Boyd's office.
That's right. That's one of his new initiatives,
Right.
is to put more emphasis on the smaller counties in the state. So she is a new deputy commissioner for rural development. And she came from another area within economic development, and bright young lady, and she was going around herself on what she called a listening tour, but we were listening to her to kind of see what she was going to be like, and we liked what we heard. And when I say we, the developers, she's meeting with groups of developers around the state and Amy knew, and she did a very nice job, very professional and polished. And I think this extra emphasis on development and getting ready for development that she's kind of shepherding the process now will pay dividends in the future.
Yeah, concentrating on her region, whatever that is.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay, and then we've got, concerning this region, you've got another plus coming up, TUB, and and one of the groups that they are associated with as part of TVA have been working on an ad for a guide that the state office publishes. It'll come out, I believe, in October.
That's right, and, Tom. The state puts out
they're plugging fiber
to the premises.
Fiber to the premises.
And in low broadband in the rural development, affordable is a commodity that across the state we don't have a lot of. We're fortunate in Tullahoma that TUB provides that service, along with there are several other private sectors that also have high-speed internet. But anyway, between those, the more capable we are, the more we may be looked at. And so what is the magazine you talked about? Each year the state puts out, and it's about 70 or 80 pages of with articles and advertisements from across the state, and it's an economic development magazine that targets prospects. And so when the state gets a request for information, they'll send them specific information, but they'll always put in one of these magazines. And so from the Tullahoma Area Economic Development Corporation, we've had an ad in that, half-page ad in that publication for the last 4 years, and we'll continue. We don't do a whole lot of direct advertising, but that's one that reaches a lot of people. Plus they have it in electronic form, it also available through the internet. And so we have one that says TAEDC, says come to Tullahoma, has a picture of one of the corporate jets taking off from the airport, talks about our good school system, all the aviation aerospace companies and activities, including UTSI in the area, our like I say, the fiber and other electronic capabilities. We're ahead of a lot of the people, a lot of the other communities. And just generally as an ad that says, hey, come to Tullahoma. And now this MTIDA, which is Middle Tennessee Industrial Development Association, they are sort of a subset of the TVA's economic development, and they're working with one of their partners, who is Tullahoma Utilities Board, or TUB, and they're doing a joint ad. So we're trying to get both of those ads in the same general proximity in this publication that'll go out to a lot of people.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, and then, well, we're about to run out of time. I was going to get you to enlighten us on what the Gaddis Regional Leadership Program is.
I'll do that very quick. It's a regional leadership program that kind of piggybacks on the local leadership program, and it's a 13-county regional leadership program. I went through it this past year. I just finished in May. Right. And 13 counties, and about 20 people each year go through it. Okay. And it's a good thing. I got to see a lot of the other counties and see their leadership meet and other attributes.
So you have a diploma now from the...
I do have a diploma, and had a nice time, met a lot of nice people, and those relationships will come in handy in the future.
Sure. Okay. All right, well, we need to take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll come back and go some more.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
95 at 100.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Thom Robinson, who is Executive Director of Tullahoma's Economic Development Corp. And we're just catching up on what's going on. And one thing we want to make sure that we remind you of is at the end of September and up into the middle of October, the skies around here are going to be full of airplanes. And so we wanted to sort of tell you about that. There's several different groups involved. I don't know how we managed to get them all at the same time, but anyway, so Thom, let's talk a little about those, and maybe in sequence, and you got a new one, which is the Cessna group.
Yes, Thom, and just so the listeners may not know, if you've seen particularly antique car clubs will have what they call cruise-ins, and people all get together and bring their favorite cars, and everybody goes around, looks at them. Well, a fly-in is similar, but with airplanes instead of cars. And the first one we have coming up is the Cessna owners, and this is a smaller group comparatively to what's coming a couple of weeks later. But anywhere between 75 and 125 airplanes
pretty sizable group.
Flying in on, I believe it's October 23rd and 24th, but somewhere around that weekend. And what these people do is
I thought they were end of September.
Did I say October?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, September.
Okay.
And what they do is they fly in, they get out of their planes. Some of them spend the night in motels. So occasionally you'll see them camping under their wings of the airplane. A lot depends, I'm sure, on the weather. And then they mix and mingle and talk about what well, they just network just like any club.
Yeah.
And then the second one is the biggie. There's a group called the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, and that's a national group. They used to have a big fly-in, and a couple of years ago, it got so big, they split it up into regional. And we are going to have the fall regional one AOPA fly-in on October 9th and 10th. That's a Friday and Saturday. But Thom, they're predicting somewhere between 700 and 1,000 airplanes to fly in. They'll fly in, land, camp. Some of them will fly out. I know that occasionally on some of the other flights, 3 or 4 people get up and get in formation and fly over to Asheville or up to Nashville or up to Louisville and then come back. But over 700 planes, and this association brings them to town. They work with our folks, but they do most of the logistics, all the trafficking. They handle everything from security to who's going to be vendors. At one point, back at a planning meeting in March, they said when the great bulk of them are landing, they'll all kind of get in line and come down, and one will be landing every 20.
They would
Yeah.
set up a circle.
And that they would land a plane every 20 seconds. Now that's hard for me to believe, but I'm going to see it. I'm planning to go see it myself, and then they'll do a lot of the activities around the museum, the Beechcraft Heritage Museum, and in one of the museums they'll have a vendor set up where people can have exhibits, and people who sell things to the aircraft industry will have a booth. And so that'll be interesting probably in itself, and they will just inundate it. It'll look like a small, I'm not sure, maybe an old World War II movie with all the planes flying around, but it'll be fun. And then the next week, actually
and you're planning to have an exhibit. Are you?
We've been authorized. We, along with the Chamber of Commerce, are going to jointly exhibit in that exhibit hall a sort of come to Tullahoma, welcome to Tullahoma, come do business in Tullahoma. So we want to take and use that effort to try to attract some additional business, which we're always on the lookout for.
Yeah, that could be pretty significant because you're hoping the new business air park is going to get airplane-related, aviation-related businesses. So now you've got the number.
We've got the product.
Yeah,
and then we'll be beginning to
customers
help promote it. And so we're excited about this coming in, because not only just for the fact that there'll be a lot of aircraft fuel sold, the city will make a little money, but mainly that many people with exposure. And we've already had, or the airport has already had talks to maybe have them back on a fairly regular basis, like every other year. So the future looks bright in that. And then the next weekend is the annual, they call it the Beach Party, and that's the Beechcraft Owners Association, and they'll fly in between 150 and 200 planes that weekend, and they have a lot of social events around the Beach Heritage Museum and a lot of exposure there.
Lasts a little longer, I think.
Yes, they come in starting on Wednesday and Thursday, and a lot of them, some of them will leave Saturday, but the great bulk of them will fly out on Sunday.
Yeah.
Just depends on where their home headquarters is. So we hope to use all three of these events, but especially the AOPA, to say, come do business. We'll have the business air park out, and if the certification goes as we hope, the final steps, then we will be able to say, here's a certified site for you, and put a brochure in their hand. And so there's a lot of good things happening. There are already, even though it's not officially certified, there are 2 hangars up in the park, and then another hangar, 10,000 square foot facility with a company called Sarasota Avionics that installs Garmin type devices for your airplanes, but these are very expensive, and so you'll have big corporate jets and people come in, spend 3 or 4 days while the mechanics and techs install these devices in. So that's a new business for us.
Yeah, they're in the business of servicing what they called specialty location devices.
Well, you think about your Garmin in your car, and it's just as a sort of like saying Coca-Cola, a Garmin type device for airplanes, and it's sort of the newest thing, and all the avionics people across the country are going to this. And I understand that one of these systems for, say, a corporate jet might run between $70,000 and $120,000, depending on what you get. So it's not a small operation.
No.
And this company out of Sarasota, Florida, this is their first foray into the middle interior of the country, So they expect, because of the location, that we'll get a lot of traffic out of it.
Good, yeah. Okay, well, we're about to run out of time, and that's the last, is that the last group we're expecting, I guess?
Yes, on the air fly-ins, but that's 3 good ones.
You mentioned another thing that we need to take share of, and that is the fact that all of these outfits are going to be buying humongous amounts of gasoline at the airport, which the city gets a nice little tax off of. So this is going to be a big revenue event for the city in September and October.
And the city, the fuel sales have been consistently up over the past year and a half. They've gotten a lot more planes and 4 or 5 new corporate planes, the bigger planes, jets and such, headquartered or based here, and that's meant increasing sales of gasoline.
Good.
So it helps the airport be self-sustaining.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that, folks, guess what? We have run out of time. We're going to have to take a very short, take a commercial break in a very short time to wrap up.
The Kia Summers on Us sales event is going on right now at Russell Barnett Kia of Tullahoma. Let me tell you about this event. Purchase a new Kia Sedona, Kia Optima, Kia Forte, and receive 0% financing up to 66 months and your first 3 payments for free. For a limited time only, no strings attached. With America's best warranty, the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, Kia is the power to surprise. The Kia Summers on Us sales event going on right now. Why buy anywhere else?
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Talking today with Thom Robinson, who is Executive Director of the Tullahoma Economic Development Corp. And we've been catching up on a large number of things that are going on. Thom, we just got a few seconds here. You got a little brief message you'd like to toss out?
Just, Thom, that things are very active right now. In a lot of the things that we work in, one of the areas that we work in, and is more visible as retail development. You've seen a number of the new activities come to life. New Ollie's, we're about to open a Buffalo Wild Wings, and some other shops, local group, Tina Rose has put in a place, has moved her.
And the coffee and pastry shop next door.
Yes, and also where they used to be is a new Speedway complex. All these are coming out of the ground, and AT&T and Mattress Place across from the mall. And so a lot of things going on, but there's more coming. So I would invite the audience to stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Okay. Well, Thom, thanks for joining us and bringing us up to date. Thank you, folks, for inviting us into your parlor, and we will see you next time.